Hi everyone, today I want to share with you how to design simple interface using constraint layout and button click listener. So let's design an interface. Uh, so for this interface I want to design a very simple one. Let's bring two text views, some text views and a button like we designed in our previous class. So let's bring two plain text. Let me constraint like this and another one to the left and this one to the top and to the left, and we can make a horizontal chain. Let's select both of them and horizontal chain, and to share the screen equally we should change its attribute of layout width to 0 dp, this one also to 0 dp. Now I want to bring another plain text input box or plain text for date of birth. Okay, so this one I will connect to the left and to the bottom of the other screen, and this one to the right, and I will change this one to 0 dp to occupy the whole screen. Next one I will bring for the country, so this one should be connected to the bottom of this and left. Okay, next one I will bring a button. Buttons are under common, and then bring a button, and this button will also connect to the bottom of this and to the left. And now we can again create a horizontal chain. Okay, now this one I should change to 0 dp, this one also change to 0 dp. So now they are sharing. This one is a bit down, so if you go to the properties, so you see here is a 35, so make this to 0. Now if you want the input box should occupy more space than the button, then change its layout weight. So we can search layout constraints, and the input text should be bigger, the button should be smaller. And for that purpose select this one and search here in the properties layout underscore width weight, layout underscore weight. So here in this one we can select and we can give the layout weight 3 to this. Now you see it get too much space because we didn't give a layout weight to the buttons, and we even can't see the button. So then we can select here from the tree and then again give the layout weight 1 to the button. So now they are sharing in the same way as we want. Okay, now remove the properties. So let's change the name property of this. So yeah, if the text property, remove this from everyone, remove the text property, and we can add hints. Okay, we can search for hint property. Yeah, so now hint is first name. For the second hint, last name. This one date of birth, and the last one here is country. Now if we want to access the inputs of these controls in code programmatically, then we need to give to all these controls proper IDs. So let's open the code view of this. So in the code view we need to change the text, and we will have to give IDs. For example, to the button, its name is button 2, but button 2 is not meaningful name because in a programming in the code we really give such IDs that we remember and we can easily access. So if I delete this one and give an ID, the convention is like this, that what type of control is use the abbreviation of that, for example btn. And now what you want by this, so we want to this button role is apply. Okay, so like this. So but you see, when we change like this, here we get a problem, because in the constraint the button here is used. So how to do, let me roll back that one, control c. Okay, and now the best way for this is to rename, refactor in a best way. It will change everywhere this name has been used. For example, to rename, control shift f6, then you will get the rename property, and now you change btn, apply. Okay, now look at this button also, and this id also. So if I click refactor, you see all are changed. So in this way I will give id to this one also. This one is the country one. Yeah, so again shift f6, and it is edit text, so it should be et edit text and then country and then refactor. This one should be date of birth, shift f6 et date of birth. I can write DOB. Okay, refactor. And this one is the last name, shift f6 et last name, and this one is and now let's change the other properties. For example, this ems basically stands for number of m's, like how many m's should be how much the width should be. So if it is 10, so it means 10 m's, like this m's should be accommodated in that. So actually we don't need this one. Okay, just remove it. The text we don't need. Here we need a hint. Okay, the hint should be first name. So I have finally completed the design phase like this. You see, this is the first name, edit text box. Its width is 0 dp, match pares. So this one done. The last name 0 dp. Its text should not be name. Here we should change into a hint. Okay, and the hint should be last name. Next one is date of birth, and again its text should not be there, it should be hint. Okay, and here I should put date of birth, and then country. In the country we don't need this m's property, and hint is country. Yeah, and that's all. And if you notice, I have given to everything, to every edit text box an id, using the general procedure and naming convention, that like edit text et, and for what purpose, first name. Okay, and et last name, and et date of birth, and et country. Why I have given IDs? Because later on I want to access all these fields in the coding. So this is why we need a proper IDs for each field. And btn apply. Okay, so that's all. Now if the text is a bit messy, then you can press Control Alt L. The text will be automatically rearranged. The design looks like this. Okay, so now let's go to the coding part now. In a coding, here in this uncreate event, we will have to create a button click listener, and in that button click listener I want to access all the fields and then display a log message. So the button is btn apply, So in this btn apply, you see it is orange now, so meaning to say we need to import this. Okay, let's try to import alt enter, but I am not getting this again. So let me check its the plugins. Oh, that one has not been. So the problem is that if I don't know that you will feel this problem or not, but I am facing this issue. So you see, it should be automatically imported, or otherwise I should get here the option of import. So if you are also facing, then you open the project window, and here inside the project hierarchy under the Gradle script, go to the second one, the module level Gradle script. Okay, open this, and after plugin, you see after the closing brackets of this plugin, write apply plugin colon, and after that in double quotation Kotlin dash Android dash extensions. Okay, and once you modify this Gradle file, then you will get this sync message, sync now. Then you must sync, otherwise it will not effect. So sync this. If everything is okay, no spelling mistake, everything is right, then the Gradle will build successfully. And when the Gradle builds successfully, then if we go there again now, okay, let me check that we can do it now. And you see, due to that plugin option, we already got this option now it is activated. So if I click alt enter now, then the all the controls that we have designed in the XML file, that will be loaded here and is accessible to us. Okay, so alt enter, now you see we get the option to import. Yes, import. And if you open this import now, you see this was the actual file import that makes available all the control which we have designed here in the design in the XML file. Okay, now if it is available, now we can access all the functions about each control. For example, btn apply dot set on click listener. So you see it is available now. So here I want to access all these fields, the first name, last name, and its text, and date of birth, and then country, and display all these values using the code. So how to access these fields and its text? We will access these fields through their IDs, and we will I will store the text of each of these field in a variable. So let's create variables. So in a Kotlin, if you know that the variable will not change value in the future, then use val. Val is like a constant variable. Okay, and if the variable, you know that it will change its value or due to some computation process, then you use var. Okay, var is changeable in nature and val is not changeable in nature. So let's give names exactly like the fields are, like a first name, sorry, equal to et edit text first name. You see all are accessible now. Dot text. Okay, dot text. So if you see here, let me show you one thing. So if you see this dot text, that this text is not actually a string value, it is editable type. So it doesn't basically return text, it returns an editable object. So we need to change this to string, dot to string, otherwise we cannot access it, we cannot use it as a string. So val last name equal to et last name dot text dot to string. Okay, in the same way the others we will access. So if you want to use the same type of property and you want to duplicate this line, so instead of copy and paste, to save your time, you can simply press Ctrl D. Okay, then the same line will be duplicated, so then it's easy for us to just simply change. So while date of birth, okay, and this one should be ET date of birth, okay, and the rest is the same. The same goes for country, Control D. Okay, so while country equal to ET country dot text dot to string. Now we access all the fields and access its text converted to string stored in a variable. Now we can use actually these variables now for any purpose that you want. So at this moment I'm just displaying as a log message all these values. So log dot d, log message, D stands for debug. Okay, you know that log has different categories. So the debug message, it needs two arguments. One is a tag, it's like an ID. So here we will give main activity. The other one is that the actual message that you want to display. That one is we want to, I will display all the text messages that we will read from the controls, from the edit text. So in Kotlin, in double quotation, you can actually use $sign to access the variable values, not as a string, the value of this variable. So this variable will have some value. So how to access inside double quotation? We have seen that inside double quotation everything is actually a string, but in a Kotlin, this is a nice feature that just use a $sign, and after that you can use the variable name, like you see $sign variable name. So now the Kotlin is treating this first name as a variable, not as a string, even though it is inside a double quotation. So the first name space the last name, this will be, let's suppose some person was, let's suppose, born in the country. So the country should be $sign country on the date of birth, on $sign date of birth. Okay, now let's run the project and then look at the debug message. So if I run the project now, so the first name is, let's suppose, Rahman, or maybe middle name also here, and here is Khan, and date of birth I will just put any one, let's suppose 1982, and here country, let's suppose Pakistan. So now let's open this logcat to see the message here. But again, you see here are different categories of messages. So let's change to debug, and so this will only display messages related to debug. And again, if you want to further filter, you want to only see those messages which are from this main activity, then copy the tag. Actually the role of the tag was this one. So you see, from this activity until now there is no message, but if I click this apply now, then all these values will be accessed and will be stored here in the variables, and then through the log message it will be displayed. So let's look at it. Okay, the problem was that here in this main activity I have given a space, but in this tag a space should not be given. It should be one word, main activity, one word. Okay, now if I run this project here, so if I click now the apply button, okay, then we can see only that messages which are related to this activity. And you can see here that you see that my name was born in Pakistan on this date. So in this way we can access the fields, we can store its value, and after that we can use it and we can display.